guys? Hope you guys are having a great middle of your week now. Hump day is upon us, or gone. Yeah, going to Thursday now, dude. My days are all mixed up. Yeah, going into Thursday, April 17th. Kind of a travel day for some teams, kind of not. We do got 10 games today instead of 15. We should be able to get through it for research sakes on the night before. A little bit faster than usual, and now, you know, we're filling out a lot of guys with 3 starts already, so kind of able to know where we want to be, leans and sways and whatnot. We're coming off a Wednesday that featured every team in play. And a lot of the obvious was obvious. The Dodgers went crazy, or the Dodgers did great. 8 runs right now with double-digit fantasy points on everybody, but ironically, the cleanup hitter, Teoscar, Michael Conforto, Tommy Edman. But Shohei started the party pretty fast. Freddie Freeman, and then the not obvious also came through in the form of Patrick Corbin, who, man, really stifled a lot of the field early or halfway through the slate. You started drawing up ways to maybe get to the top that didn't involve getting to the Dodgers. You had to look at Patrick Corbin as somebody to pick on, and Corbin went out there and shoved 5.1 innings, 6 strikeouts, didn't allow 5 hits, so he bent but didn't break in a walk, but kind of frustrating if you were a Trout investor, or if you had really any pieces of the Angels trying to get there. The early slate, we did see Chris Bassett. We really looked into Chris Bassett a little bit yesterday about why his strikeouts are up. Those continued to look really, really good. 10 strikeouts in 5 innings against the Braves. Now, the Braves have certainly been a team that strike out quite a bit thus far in the season, and they are limping without Marcell Ozuna. But also, Chris Bassett has some stuff that we looked at yesterday, namely the break in his pitches were up from last year, and the arm slap Jake brought to my attention a little bit different as well. So I actually think Chris Bassett might be one of the surprise Cy Young candidates. And earlier I looked, it was 700 plus 700. Some spots to start the season, I think he was like plus 1250. There are still some books that give you better odds than 700. I don't know if they adjusted after today, but I started thinking about the American League, and it's like Tariq Skubal, just off the top of my head at the top. I think winning Cy Young in the AL is not an outlandish range of outcomes for Chris Bassett, who is somebody that we know can eat a lot of innings, isn't a bad pitcher to start with, and has the ability now to rack up more strikeouts, which just helps his case. So I'm pretty interested in him for that. Just the odds, I think, when you think about the probability of 70-1, which is like what, less than 2%, I think. Bassett right now has the number 2 WAR in the league behind Cole Reagans, Garrett Crochet. I mean, these are guys that are obviously in the conversation: Max Fried, Crochet, Reagans. But I think Bassett's right there. So something to keep in mind if you're into futures. If nothing else, I think he's extremely undervalued. Probably still. I don't know. Let's see. Chris Bassett, Young. Odds, if you are a futures bettor, some of you don't want to sweat that. It is whatever. But it's gone down to plus 5,000 at BetMGM, plus 7,000 at Caesars. Did I say 700? I'm at 7,000. If you go to Vegas Insider, yeah, you start off at 50,000. I would love to get those odds, but I don't. So let's go. Not even getting Bassett in the short list here. I'm assuming it's still going to be close to 71. I mean, some of these odds are so short. So I think Bassett's a good bet for that. I can't lay any action on it in Texas, but something to keep an eye on. What up, Patrick? What up, Jesse? In the live chat, hope y'all doing all right. If you guys are new to the stream, you're stumbling across this video on YouTube, you search some keywords that popped up this video. I am Gun, and throughout the duration of this stream or video, I'm going to be filling out the MLBgrind.com VIP spreadsheet. This is a spreadsheet that you can obtain access to and help you expedite your daily research for your prop betting, your sports leans, your money line leans, your daily fantasy, whatever it is you need to attack baseball from a metrical point of view. This is my worksheet, and it's the evolution of a decade of this type of research. So it is something that we put a lot of work into every night. And if you click around this channel, you'll see we dive deep into these games here. So I understand a lot of people don't have 2-3 hours a day to watch these long videos and take notes along, at least not every day. And one of the benefits of having a subscription at MLBgrind.com is you cut the line. You can basically watch the video on 30,000x and just go straight to the worksheet, which will spit out the matchups, the pitcher breakdowns, a couple notes that I got, the pitcher projections, the bomb detector, all that stuff. Yesterday, bomb detector looked a little something like this. Usually around the 4 rating is when I really pay attention. I believe we got Pavin Smith, Raleigh, Ohtani, Talia, Harper, Moniak, and Judge. So seven of these hitters around the 4+ range actually went yard, and that's just kind of, you know, it's not a guarantee, but it is something that I like to see. And also, you know, numbers push back on gut feelings. We don't want to play Rockies. Bobby Miller, we knew what he had. So who else was pushing Tolia home runs and Mickey Moniak home runs, right? So it is proof in the pudding, man. The model knows what it's looking for, right? What up, EB? Need the Dodgers to get 3 outs sweat free here in the 9th. No extra innings, please. Yeah, that game is actually close. Are you holding on to something? I only ran single entry today. I was kind of busy, and I ran Mitchell Parker and Osvaldo Bido, man. Oh, it just killed me, dude. Bido just couldn't get strikeouts. Went 5 innings. And then I had a stack Great American. My idea was just be a little different than Dodgers. Stack Great American Ballpark with the Mariners and the Reds. And then threw like Trout in the mix, and it just was not pretty. So I was cashing before the Dodgers game start, and Shohei Ohtani and his like 35% owned homer off the rip was like, yeah, we got this. And that's just, you know, that's the same. Sometimes you just try to be contrarian and the chalk smashes, and it's just like, I certainly didn't overthink it as far as the process goes, I don't think. But yeah, Freeman and Ohtani delivered real fast, and Mama said to be nights like this, you know. What are you gonna do? Also, with a subscription to MLBgrind.com, you get into the Discord. Somebody subscribed yesterday, was having problems. So he signed up. He wanted projections, which is cool. But it sounded like he was a little bit newer because he didn't understand how to put projections in a CSV from Excel and upload. And then he was just like, well, can you just post to optimal? And baseball's not really an optimal. So please, if you have purchased subscriptions to like services that offer lineups and just tell you stuff, you know what I mean, like stuff like that, that's not really what we do here. Baseball's not really an optimal lineup sport, and it's just that's not the culture we have. We've kind of cultivated a smart, I don't want to say I'm not saying he's dumb, but a smart, analytical, sabermetric community that we all like to hunt of the research here. So please don't sign up just for like lineups and picks. So like, I'll share my stuff 100%. I share my cards or whatever that I run if I'm running, but not a lineup seller. Not I'm not even a prop bet seller. I just share what I'm running when I do run that. I'm a research seller, dude. So just keep that in mind. You'll get into Discord too, MLBgrind.com, premium membership. And every now and then we'll be in that voice chat, sweating it up. Get it going. Second place barely on Fanduel was the first whole day until the Ohtani homer. Yeah, first place with that much chalk in the last game. And that was weird because that game was 2 hours separated from the Corbin debacle. And it instantly pops off. Like they didn't waste no time. And ironically, like in my contest, the Rockies are like 1 to 2% owned. You almost could just like showdown stack that game. And that would have differentiated your Dodger stacks enough. And you just start flying by lineups in the nighttime. So whatever. D-backs in the Marlins, keeping it going. Down there in Miami. Any lessons learned today? Any developments? Anybody let you down? Any pitchers? I think for me, the biggest a-hole for me was Beto. And I just feel like, man, every time I try to get cute against the White Sox, dude, they just don't strike out when I do it. All the metrics, all the stats, they're like, one of the most strikeout prone teams, and Beto's out here messing with a freaking 12% swinging strike rate, but not when they're swinging. Eduardo Rodriguez pitching for the D-backs today. He'll be up against Edward Cabrera. For the most part, I wasn't like too stunned with the results in some spots. I will say there are some players that carry this like historical, all right, this guy's good, and then you're just like starting learning. And now in 2025, and really, last year, and one of those guys for me is Rowdy Tellez, bro. There's been twice in this past week where I got some exposure to him in some of my top lineups, and I actually watch his plate appearances and look at his his baseball savant and stuff like that. And dude, homie's not it. I was watching today and they were kind of roasting him, and they're like, the Mariners didn't want to upgrade that position. They just let it happen. What are you gonna do? D-backs have a 4.8 run total. Marlins have a 3.9 run total. Erod has a ridiculous 29% K rate this season. That is fake Bakerston. We'll pull up his game log and wait for him to have 12 strikeouts today. He walked away with a 21.6 K per nine in that Nationals game, but 3 and 5 in the other loaves of the sandwich, and just a 10% swing and strike rate in that game, with a 70% first pitch strike, a 47% swing percentage, and what that indicates is a lot of his strikeouts were looking, offering not a ton of validity to these strikeout numbers that we got, right? So I'm not going to play Erod expecting him to be a 30% strikeout pitcher. This is a Marlins lineup that right now in the projected half and half in terms of egregious K rates and normal. We got Jesus Sanchez, Derek Hill, Dane Myers, all with the around an aggregate 28.5, 29% K rate, and a couple guys below and a couple guys average. So Erod, if you wanted to play Erod, just kind of taper your expectations as far as upside. but he's not this guy, pal. I don't necessarily think he's a gas can. 3.36 expected ERA, that's fine at 16 innings. The barrel rate is fine, not great, not terrible at 7%. But he's going to come with some risk, a little bit more risk than this column right here. So let's get that projection ready to go. I'm going to give Erod a 22% K rate here, and a walk rate of about 8.5. So 8. Edward Cabrera, I believe this is second start. Yeah, this will be his second start. He went 5.2 innings against Washington, 79 pitches with 5 strikeouts. And Nats aren't a like super K team. He did get a 14% swing and strike rate. One thing we have seen from him in his upbringing, his pedigree, is the ability to miss some bats and then do some swings. Last year, a 12% swing and strike rate, which was in line with what we saw in 2023. Unlike Erod, I don't expect him to be just a 1 in 5 K rate guy. I do think he will be closer to a 1 in 4. But this is a D-backs lineup that doesn't strike out a ton themselves, and they're pretty doggone good. And that's something we've seen in this series as well. A lot of multi-tooled talent and how they can get you. Corbin Carroll can hit for decent average. He can steal bases. He can hit for power. Pavin Smith. Still waiting on Ketel Marte, might be soon. And I just think the D-backs are a really good, really fun team. Let's see if we can get a lean on the Loan Depot roof. It was open in game 1, and this is going to be a day game. I think it might have been open yesterday, so we're gonna have to put this in the notes. Roof status here. Right now it says open. I think that might be just left from yesterday, and if they leave it open tomorrow, I think that'll be a bonus where I might even give them a little bit of a weather bump, because it's gonna be in 80 degrees out there in Miami. But sometimes they won't, but they might if it's in the 80s. With that said, Edward Cabrera's weaknesses, power to lefties, and that's kind of like the strength of the D-backs. 240 ISO against righties since the beginning of last year for Corbin Carroll, 271 for Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor 227, and Eugenio Suarez got off to a pretty good start, and then we just kind of haven't heard much from him lately. And Edward Cabrera not immune to power to righties either. Last year 1.2 home run per 9. So if you pop the lid there and Cabrera's not got it, certainly could be a sneaky home run shot for this early 4-game slate. 5-game slate, maybe 4-game slate. I don't know how they're 4 games on Fanduel. And there's really not, I guess, Great American Ballpark, that'll certainly be your favorable hitters park. But the D-backs at first glance have the highest implied run total. That'll likely be accompanied with the highest ownership. Is what it is. Let's rank this out. D-backs offense obviously going to be number 1. I think Erod is playable in the grand scheme of this slate. Brady Singer, Erod, JPC. Yeah, this is rough. This is really rough. So Erod unfortunately does make the list. Cabrera, I think there's a above 0% range of outcomes on a 4-game slate. At the 24% strikeout rate can be realized. I just wish it was a better matchup. I got a less than 20% aggregate K rate right now for these D-backs, and if I go team stats on this season, just kind of isolating things here, especially against righties. The Diamondbacks have the 4th lowest K rate against righties on the season. The Athletics actually above them too. That's kind of funny. And then WRC plus wise, they're at 135. So they've just been really solid. I don't think I want to pick on them and pitch against them, but 4-game slate with those names, you might just be looking for 10 plus fantasy points. And I think that's not, outside the range of outcomes, especially in lineups that don't feature D-backs. Like if you're managing a portfolio lineups, it would make sense if you're fading the Diamondbacks to kind of double leverage that and take a pitcher who might still be able to realize a 1-4 K rate. It's risky. It comes with a lot of risk, but I'm D-backs over Cabrera first and foremost. What up, Kreese? What up, RC? What up, John? Vito's upside is questionable, man. I ran him too. Yeah, it wasn't. It's more of the matchup, right? I gave the matchup a lot of credence, and then also looking at Vito's like swing and strike rate, it certainly wasn't like pristine. And he also was like he was allowing contact. It was like soft contact, not getting barreled up. Was that going to be sustainable? It's not like he got beat up today. He just wasn't getting strikeouts. Yeah, Vito. But if I had a nickel for every time, I'd have like 20 cents already on the season. This season, I take strikeout prompts or take a pitcher against the White Sox and they just stop striking out. Yeah, he only gave up one earnings, dude. He went 5.2. Like, if you told me Vito was leaving with 5.2 innings, one earned run, and then Ernie was just a homer solo shot, be like, all right, yeah, no, he would have been a good play. No strikeouts is kind of crazy. Like, you should accidentally get a strikeout per inning against the White Sox, and he just wasn't. Matter of fact, now that it's on the brain, let me go pull this up, see if we got that single game result on him. If I can be extra upset. No, it's not up there yet. He just wasn't missing. Like, 12.4% swing strikeout on the season, 2 games with double digits, and the one game that wasn't was at Coors, a little bit forgiving because of Coors. So it's just a freaking shame, and unlucky, I think. But his defense was there for him. What up, Mad Max? Dodgers Rocky stack paid off. Yeah, it did. If you're patient, or if you reserved lineups and completely forgot and then checked your phone at 10 p.m. and was like, oh, fudge. The Dodgers Rockies, let's go. Yeah, like, you've made money. You probably made decent money. Edwards walks way too many people. Yeah, I don't want to play him on the surface. I just I'm trying to draw a 4-game slate range of outcomes where he might be serviceable in the shallow pitching pool, but obviously the D-backs make way more sense, right? Yeah, no, I don't regret the Beetle play. I just kind of laugh at it right now. Back to back. What up, RC? What up, Jesse? You held on to the number 2 spot. Let's go, Jesse. What contest was that? Make a good ROI. Was it a single entry? Was it max entry? Limited entry? Let us know. If you got a link, pop it in chat. I'll give you the podium. All right, let's move on. Wait, did we finish out the projections here? We did. So I'm gonna also put Cabrera at 22% K rate. That's gonna give him 2%, halfway to last year. And the walk rate, like Chris said, is just insane. So I might actually give him a 12% walk rate, especially facing a lot of lefties with some walks. So be a quick opportunity for them to do well. And then let's see if we have some outs projected yet. I'm gonna give Erod 16.5. I'm gonna give Cabrera 14.5. And those are obscure numbers I'm taking from the top of my head for a get you started projection, They play tonight, how to do stuff, going to play Texas with LAD. Yeah, Dodgers were popping. The Orioles kind of snapped. Jackson Holiday had a grand slam to be responsible for most of it. It wasn't like a ton of 20s, but there was 4 players with double-digit fantasy points. Aaron Judge, just, man, is he locked in? I guess if you went after Aaron Nola, a lot of projection systems had him as super, the best pitcher on the slate. And I didn't disagree. Still got you 8 strikeouts, but he also had 4 walks, 9 hits, and 6 earned runs against that Giants team that has certainly been punishing some teams this season. So, but yeah, it looks like the best way to win money tonight was just to fall asleep at the wheel and stack the final game. Hope you had pitchers with double-digit fantasy points. Let's move on to the Nationals and the Pirates. So, a little testy series here, guys. Maybe I can pull up a Twitter video. This is like a sleep music. What are we doing? Where's my beats, bro? Juicy trap beat. Let's go. Here we go. Alex Call, James Wood, Herbert Ruiz, Nate Lowe. Yesterday, there was an issue between these teams that actually resulted in a benches clearing situation where Andrew McCutchen saw a baseball zip by his head. And he took that personally. And I gotta say, I didn't watch the whole game to understand, one, if it was like on purpose, but it obviously felt personal. Two, if it was, if you got beef with a team, and I get it, you have to send a message. We all know you don't throw at somebody's head, but you don't throw at Andrew McCutchen. Come on, bro. That's like one of the most likable guys in the league. So like that makes me think it's not on purpose. Because who the freak wants beef with Hutch, man? That dude's a legend, a Hall of Famer, right? Like he's just that guy. Like he was a Yankee for a season, and I absolutely loved him. All right, you guys be the judge. It is a 1-1 count with 2 on. You're not throwing at him, so it's definitely not on purpose. Oh, but that's a dangerous pitch.
That was a wild pitch.
They're chilling. They're chilling. First, they're getting chirped at.
Shelton.
That's Andrew McCutchen. Come on, get some
The
control.
home plate umpire to maybe issue a warning.
He wants
He's
a
talk.
warning.
They're going to
given.
see. This is interesting.
But
They
it's
started
a
doing this a few
2-1
years
game
ago. The
with
umpires
2
get together
on.
to decide whether to issue a warning or
probably
an
not.
injection. Now McCutchen and
Throwing at
Lopez are
McCutchen.
barking, and that's going to empty the benches.
And I think that's McCutchen
and a
was
big
saying
home run off
something to Lopez,
last year.
and
Whether that has anything to do with this.
I guess they had beef from last year. I just can't see a scenario where that matters here. But it did end up in a benches clearing scuffle,
At least that's how
which then ended up in a O'Neal Cruz grand slam.
And Cruz with a drive to right field, and O'Neal Cruz caps off the inning with his third.
So all that to say, a little bit of spice out there in PNC Park, man. Boys are rowdy. Boys are rowdy. But I don't think I think a grand slam's the ultimate retaliation. But just some gossip to get everybody fueled up and caught up, right? Jorge Lopez pitching makes sense too. Yeah, I guess they got some history, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the game usurps that type of stuff in that situation. But if it was on purpose and leads to the old 4-run shot, well, then it was a bad idea. Anyway, today Nats have a 3.7 run total. Pirates at 4. The wind now not projected to be blowing to dead center like we've seen the last couple of days. But it may not matter because Andrew Heaney's throwing baseballs. We know he's an extreme fly ball pitcher. He hasn't given up a ton of homers so far this season, but it seems like a matter of time. The hard contact rate is certainly down from last season. So is the barrel rate. Is it sustainable for him? Feels like I don't want to trust that. And then inversely, Trevor Williams, career contact guy, so far a 16% K rate for him. Last year peaked at 22%, barrel rate 5%. He's the perfect example of a fine day 3, day 4 real life pitcher. Eat some innings, keep you in it for 5-6 innings, keep the scoreboard, decent enough run prevention, but not really somebody you want to roster for DFS much. And that's kind of the case with both, but we have seen Heaney realize a little bit more upside this season in some spots, right? 30 fantasy points against the Yankees. That was fun. 6 at Cincy in Great American Ballpark. So he's actually gotten you 6 or better in two starts now. Just 3 hits in that game with 2 walks. Like I said, unraveled later. So that's a good sign if you want to play him with a neutral to plus pitchers environment here. The PNC Park has seen homers 20% below league average the last couple of years, and he can increase that even more as it's seen 31% below average to righties, and that's certainly the big Heaney problem here. So I don't give the Pirates a lot of credit, but looking at those numbers just straight up, that's not a bad signing if you're the Pirates. Like, it feels kind of like when the Cardinals signed a bunch of Steven Matzes and contact guys that can eat some innings, keep the ball in the park in a pitcher's park. So might have to play him at 7,600. 9K on Fanduel feels ill. But with that said, we just got done looking at K rates for the league. This Nats team kind of scrappy and a little bit better than public perception, I think, for the most part. And we're seeing that with a couple of pitchers now, or excuse me, with a couple of teams. Let's go to both leagues. Pitchers right, left-handed. Run it. Oh, that was against righties, huh? Boston's about league average in K rates against lefties with 407 xFIP. And we've seen a couple of pitchers have okay, not great days against the Nats. But if you're playing Andrew Heaney, it's not like you're expecting the 104 K rate. So I think the prerequisites for pitching on this slate: who's not going to die, who's going to go deep enough, 5-6 innings, and likely not give a bunch of runs. So a sub 4 implied run total. I think these are all favorable things for 7,600 Andrew Heaney, and I think we gotta, as weird as this is, we gotta put him at the top of the list. And the Nats do have a couple of lefty masters. Alex Call, somebody that I like a lot in this spot. But once you get past him, you might be able to neutralize James Wood's hotness so far with Heaney's ability to keep lefties in the park at a sub 0.8 homer per 9 the last 3 years. And just hope that the platoon works to his advantage. So only because it's a 4-game slate and the rest of the slate is meh for pitching, I think Heaney is a DraftKings play for this one. Trevor Williams, I'm way less enthralled with, even though the Pirates aren't implied for much more, and they also offer strikeouts, almost a 23% aggregate clip here. But I just don't feel like, I feel like if Heaney does give up the inevitable homer, he can maybe compensate for it with some strikeouts. I don't expect that from Trevor Williams, so I'm leaning the other way here, and I'm probably gonna go to some Pirates because of that. And then of course Nats substack with a heavy focus on Alex Call, assuming he's gonna lead off. We saw him lead off against a lefty in the past couple days, so I imagine that's gonna be more of the same here. Young getting hurt really was like catering for Washington. He was striking out. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's just not. It's not a fun click, but it might be a necessary evil. And of course, if you're just mass centering a 4-gamer, you got a little bit of everything. But if I had to manage 20, I think Heaney might be my highest owned pitcher looking price, all things considered. Yeah, Jesus, yikes. Although I feel like I kind of thought I was doom and gloom. Was it today or the early slate? And then like every pitcher just was good. So that's baseball, Susan. All right, let's move on. Get back to Great American Small Park. Brian Wu and Brian Singer, or Brady Singer. These are the two best pitchers, I think, on this slate, but we are giving them the worst pitching environment. But I don't think that's going to be enough to get me away. And like I said, I don't think this is one of those expect 30 from any pitcher. So you'll take your blemishes, you'll take your 2-3 earned runs, and then you'll take your strikeouts. And Brian Wu looked pretty solid in his 19 innings of work so far. Solid enough go and battle the Reds. Reds team is weird. This park creates some weird moments, some weird homers in the bottom of the lineup. Sometimes we saw a solid game from Austin Hayes two games ago. We've seen a couple of flirts with scratches and injuries, but pitching wise today, I do think the most talented pitchers on this slate are in this game, whatever that means. 4.2 run total for the Mariners, 4 for the Reds. Looking at Brian Wu, his weaknesses, much like we saw yesterday with Bryce Miller, pre-flop, power to lefties, 2+ homer per 9 in 2 of his last 3 seasons so far, with a 1+, or I'll say 1.5 aggregate, extreme fly ball, low ground ball, and so far this season the hard contact rate has been half of what we've seen the last couple of years. So will that regress to the median? Maybe. Probably. 8.2 innings against lefties so far. Let's see what the game log for him. Texas, San Fran, and the Athletics. Double-digit swing and strike rate in each game. We'll take that. Out of all data, positive xFIP except game 1. And then looking at this Reds lineup, this is, again, like Bryce Miller yesterday when we were attacking Reds to tap into the home run issue. Elly De La Cruz, DJ Friedel, Gavin Lux. Then it's ugly clicks. Jamer Candelario does have some pop, but you got to get to it. 200+ ISO against righties, but 218 average, 27% K rate, 81 WRC plus. It's basically Elly De La Cruz. And what we did see yesterday, if he's not homering, he can at least get on base. I think he drew a walk and stole a base yesterday. And that'll contribute to your fantasy needs. Brian Wu can strike out lefties in over a 1-in-5 clip, but you really want to see a lot of righties in this lineup and tap into this 275 xFIP so far to righties, a 1-in-4 K rate. Just really, really good metrics there. So I think Wu is at the top of the, I think this is obviously a four corner spot. And then Brady Singer, where does he rank out in this? So a 12% swing and strike rate essentially so far, almost an 18% call strike rate. That's pretty in line with what we saw last year. It's cut the barrel rate in half so far. Again, maybe that comes back up, but kind of like Wu, looking really good against righties. some blemishes against lefties. Extremely high aggregate line drive rate against lefties for the last 3 years. 22% is his 3-year low, and that was in 2023. With the xFIPs being red, the home run per nine being up there, and that's also in Kaufman, right, for that. So now you put him in a much harder park to keep lefties in the yard. 42% above average. Jorge Polanco and Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh yesterday was, outside of like Ohtani and Trout, Raleigh was like the highest player owned in my contest. I think it's because the catcher pool is so shallow, but man, he's swinging a nice bat right now, and that's screaming for him to keep it hot, assuming he's in the lineup, but I'm sure he will be. Rosarena looking good too if you're trying to mix it up. Need some speed from him so far this season. Of course, he still has the ability to walk and hit for power. I think the question is, do we go Brady Singer or Mariners first? I'm gonna go Singer because the Mariners have a lot of this column, a 26% aggregate K rate, which we haven't got to the White Sox yet, but probably the highest aggregate K rate on the slate. But they do have some mixed in power, so every now and then it's going to come through. So I think we're going to go Woo, Singer. I think I'm going to go Mariners as a more balanced stack, and then Reds, but obvious four corners. And then we didn't project out Trevor and Heaney. So for Trevor, let's give him an 18% K rate. For Heaney, let's give him a 22 for now, but I think we'll give him a 23.5 mix. For Woo, we'll go 24 and good walk rate too. So 4 finger. I don't know what I just clicked. Hey guys, gold is up, I think is what that says. What did I just click? MSN, that's a thing still. Brady, we'll give him let's give him a 23. And then walk rates here. Trevor Williams, probably not. We'll go 6.5. Heaney will go 6.5. Woo will go 5.5. And 8. So 6.5, 6.5, 5.5. And for outs, I'll go 16 so far for Trevor. I'll go 17.5 for Heaney. For Woo, I'll go 16.5. Singer, I'll go 17. And just see if any of those lines got. I actually got a juice on the under for Williams, so I'll bring him down to 15. Sorry, sneeze. Heaney, I was on the nose with that 17.5. Juiced on the over so far. Singer's at 16.5. I gave him 17. So I'll tax him that half a point, and we'll go back. We've detected your stream audio in your stream belonging to someone else. Let me turn that down. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, who got pushed back to Friday? Oh, well, that changes a lot. I was wondering. I had already looked at all that. Pull it off of Fantasy Labs. They have Woo, so we got Hancock. Is it for sure? Emerson Hancock. All right. Well, sorry for everyone that just had to listen to me gas up Brian Woo. Well, that could be a problem for everything. So he doesn't look great in his Jesus. All right, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a bad game on that one. We have a story with Hancock. Does he have any minor league starts? Oh man, it's at 4. Is that line still available? To 3 runs for fun. Mariners are favorited. I guess it's because they bat first. Those are interesting. Last year Emerson Hancock wasn't that great. It's easy to point and laugh at this 0.2 innings where he absolutely imploded. But even if he gets back to his form last year and the year before, it wasn't good. Not what you want. I'm looking to see if I can find anything for Hancock. Looks like on April 12th, did get work. But nothing looking crazy. I wonder why the line hasn't moved yet. Because yeah, that doesn't seem to be a secret. Nothing else, this total should go up more. I don't know, dude, DraftKings hasn't caught up either, because if you look on DraftKings, they still list Brady Singer. So I mean, if you're watching live, you can get action on Reds, anything. Probably some value. I don't know. But yeah, I see it on Twitter. I do see Emerson Hancock as the starter. Right now, you can get the Reds plus even money first 5. It seems kind of weird that those lines are still up. Somebody's asleep. Yeah, they might have some stipulation where Wu has to be the starter. Yeah. All right, well, it changes a lot. The guy that we had as the top play from the game is not in the game. We'll take him out. And then we put the Reds as the top play. Brady Singer stays a second, and then Mariners third. And then we'll put Ryan Wu was initially slated to start, pushed back, and Hancock is now your expected starter. Man, dude, if you're trying to punt a pitcher like we saw last night with Bobby Miller, Great American Ballpark, this is how you want to do it. I don't know, man. Go out there and win the games you're supposed to win. Whatever. Yeah. Oh well. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if what their stipulation is on stuff like that. But yeah, the sports books usually have some slimy way out of stuff like that. I mean, if they can restrict you for winning money, certainly. But I bet if you bet on Woo, or if you bet on the Mariners because of Woo, they're not gonna avoid that ticket, are they? I don't know, man. All right, moving to the Athletics and my arch nemesis White Sox. Hate having two max months in the league, but luckily right now they both kind of suck. Not like it's making a massive difference for me in my lineups and projections, but gosh, it's so frustrating and confusing. A's have a 4.5 run total. They're looking like they are hashtag good at baseball. And I guess we got to see how this plays out. I think we've seen the story too many times with with the Athletics. When they get good players, the last 20, 30 years, they don't do anything with it. They don't sign them. They don't give them money. Half the times they don't even turn them into big packages. But they are absolutely looking talented. And they get Davis Martin throwing baseballs against them today, and his 13.5% K rate. Thank God I don't have somebody that I can start. Anyway, I don't have to look at Davis Martin stuff, right? We're going Athletics stack easily. JP Sears on the bump for the Athletics. A 22% K rate so far this season. 18% last year, 22% the season prior. The swing and strike rate's up a little bit. He's somebody I'm not going to get too excited for. It is the White Sox. They do strike out a bit, but they are a much better, in White Sox terms, platoon to lefties than righties, especially when it comes to strikeouts, because they're pretty righty heavy. So not as tempted so far to pitch against the White Sox, but I will say the pitching being so shallow in this park with winds blowing in at 16 miles an hour, which might be a -1 for the weather grade there. Wouldn't stun me if JP Sears turns in a serviceable return on fantasy investment, which could literally just be between 10 and 20 fantasy points on a slate like this. So I think Singer and Heaney are leading the charge right now. Erod is probably knocking on their door. Sears is kind of there, and I kind of understand it. And we've seen him throw up to 100 pitches. Didn't really mean much against the Mets, but he went at Coors, he went at Seattle, and turned around between 10 and 20, which is kind of what I'm saying. It's a vomit score. It's not fun, but I get it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it in short term here. Definitely not going to play Davis Martin. Definitely going to be interested in these Athletics bats. But like I said, right now it looks like wind's blowing in, and sometimes Chicago gets very Chicago-y and windy, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. Right now it looks like it's going to be a negative effect. Without the weather, though, Davis Martin has a high walk rate to lefties, over 1 home run per 9, a 15% K rate, almost a 5 xFIP, and then against righties, an elevated line drive rate so far this season with a lot of red in the xFIP, the K, the average, and both sides of the plate here for the Athletics are well represented. Brent Rooker, Shea Langoliers, if you want some righty pop. So Athletics, understanding weather might turn a homer into a at the wall fly out, and then White Sox just trying to get into this this lefty, and I think Andrew Vaughn, Luis Robert, 2 guys that I would insta pick in this spot and just kind of go from there. All right, Nick Creasy, take it easy, bud. And that's going to do it for our 4-game early slate. We're going to move it on over to our night slate. Is there a middle? There's a middle of the afternoon game. I guess we'll throw it in the spreadsheet for the users. JP Sears, let's give him a 21% K rate. Let's give Martin at 18%. Go walk rate at 8% for Sears. For Martin, let's go 9%. 8, 9. Do we have outs projected for Sears? $17.5, a little juice on the over. And Martin 15. We're gonna go 17.5 and 15. And then I guess we can open up our early pitcher projection tab. Conveniently, lead pitchers. So we'll sort that by Fanduel. Don't give me. Don't do it. Don't do it, man. I don't want it. I don't want it. Not happening. But I guess the negative weather grade. Oh my god. Did I at least no 17.5? That's what the line is. Tax someone else. To be fair. All right, afternoon game. Giants and the Phillies. So this is on an island. Likely not going to be a game most of you will care about, which is probably good, because I am in the middle of a Jordan Hicks hates me era. Kind of dived into it his last 2 starts, but it just feels like Jordan Hicks should be generating more strikeouts, and he is. He's not. If I give up in this matchup against the Phillies, and this will definitely be the hashtag DFS haha gun bot, and he strikes everyone out. But with that said, I'll explain why I think his strikeouts should have gone up, but they didn't. And now that they have sustained not going up, and the swing and strike rate is 8%, I just live with this 1 in 5 K rate. But the whip looks good. The lefty splits do not. The walk rate 10+% to lefties. That's a problem because Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott, Kyle Schwarber, even Max Kepler, all those guys can take advantage of that. They can take advantage of the power problem and the low K rate. If we go to Baseball Savant for Jordan Hicks, the reason I got somewhat excited for him to start the season for these lowly price strikeout props like 4.5, 5.5, because this column right here, 97.2 miles an hour on his sinker. That's up almost 3 miles an hour from last year, and was something that we knew him for. And what was it, St. Louis? But he's just not missing bats. 11% whiff rate on a 97+ mile an hour sinker, because it's just not. I guess it's just not just not moving, right? Look like vertical movement by inches. Sinker's actually gone down in movement, I guess, you know, the offset of the velocity. And it's just not missing bats. The velocity isn't always king. Now it might be a little harder to square up. 452 expected slug this year versus 498 last year. A 3-degree launch angle, but it's not necessarily a strikeout pitch. So I give up. You win. Jordan Hicks. I will go against I will attack him heavy in spots that feature a lot of righties. But this isn't that spot. This is a team that's really lefty heavy, lefty powerful, and then the righties aren't too shabby either. So in this matchup, we're going Phillies. It's the top of our interest. The Giants, man, they've kind of come through against some good pitching and some rough spots somewhat frequently lately. And so Chris Sanchez, who I think is good, 26% K rate so far this season, almost a 13% swing and strike rate, 2% barrel, keeping the ball on the ground. He can get got. I'm gonna rank him above the Giants, just going with the numbers, but it wouldn't shock me if the Giants continue to play spoiler. And Elliot Ramos, Jung Ho Lee, Wilmer Flores, even Willie Adames, even Matt Chapman, like 1 through 5, pretty solid. So we're gonna go Phillies 1, Sanchez 2, Giants 3. I'm not gonna lean on some Hicks here unless this lineup comes out surprisingly righty. But again, this is an island game. If you're attacking this game, you're playing a showdown or just prop betting. And I think for props, this will probably generate a high score for Schwarber and or Harper. Harper got one yesterday. So just a quick pressure on the bomb detector. Surprise, but Schwarber over 4, Harper over 4. So we're seeing the Phillies represented pretty quickly on the bomb detector. All right, now we can move to the main slate on both sites. We'll do some pitcher projection. Jordan Hicks, I'm gonna give him a 20% K rate. Sanchez, I'm gonna give him a 24. Walk rate for Hicks, I gotta give him a 12. And then Sanchez has been pretty solid, so I'll give him a 6. And then innings pitch for these guys, 18.5, so 18 for Sanchez. Yeah, 15. .35 p.m. Eastern. A lot of games less that are earlier than 7 p.m. Eastern now. Like a couple years ago, there was like one. It was just like Chicago half the time. Now there's been like a decent amount of games that start. Oh, my neck. Guardians gonna be throwing Tanner Bybee. Lugano on the bump for the Orioles. Guardians continue to be kind of easy to attack when it comes to picking who you want in short form. It's been kind of like that for years. You really just want to get to Jose Ramirez, Stephen Kwan, and go from there. The Orioles continue to look really good on paper, and when they deliver. But sometimes, man, I get super invested, and it feels bad, man. But they got into a nice couple of crooked numbers yesterday. We'll see if they can keep it going. It's Tyler Bybee. We also saw Was it? No, that was it today O'Neal got scratched? I think Tyler O'Neal got scratched one of these. Jackson Holiday did hit a grand slam yesterday. If that earns him a upgrade in lineup spot. Sagano has not been that impressive at America. Sub 7% K rate, or excuse me, swinging strike rate, 8% K rate, 1.57 on the whip, 5.81 expected ERA, 10% barrel rate. None of that's what you want. He is keeping lefties on the ground, but he's also not keeping them in the park at a 1.23. Homer per nine, and righties are really getting them so far in these 14 innings. And I guess that'll test the Guardians gangster on what you want to do with them. I think I keep it pretty simple. J-Ram, Kwan, and then we stretch out a little bit to like the Santanas, the Manzardos, but bottom of this lineup is really hard to get behind with any bit of confidence. So I'm gonna go Orioles 1 or I'm just gonna go Orioles for now. But pitching on the main slate doesn't get much sexier than pitching on the early slate. Part of me wanted to type Bibby's name because I know in yesteryear he can offer a 2x game, and I think again the main slate looking a lot like the early slate in terms of expectations or pre-flop minimum requirements to be our pitcher, and Bibby's getting the better pitcher favorite so far. So I do think just because this slate is rough for pitching and because I like the Orioles and a little self-leverage, I think Bobby does make the cut. But his strikeout stuff has been diminished in the K percentage column, but the called strikes are up from last year and the swinging strike rate is still just fine. So it feels a little bit more unlucky than anything for Bobby so far. So I'm willing to extend that leash to him a little bit. I'll go check out his individual pitches, if there's anything like glaring, but it feels like it's just a matter of luck. Those four seamers is number one. So far, a 354 expected slug will take that. A sub 200 expected average will take that, and a 23% whiff rate. Last year, all of those numbers were higher, except the whiff rate. The cutter has been a problem. In 6 batted ball events, it has gotten demolished. It also has a 45% whiff rate. So that needs to find a happy medium ground. Last year, the cutter offered a 286 expected slug with a 36% whiff rate. This year it got, but it's only 6 batted ball events, so need more sample size for that to kind of like lay out. And last year over 100. So looks like the cutter looks like the reason why some of those numbers are not caught up to him in terms of overall K percentage. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here and assume he's gonna get back to that. There's no like glaring differences on that cutter, right? 85.5 last year, 86, so a mile an hour or less, sure. Not an obscene undercut. The four seamer's close to where it was. And he also has increased usage thus far on like the sinker and the sweeper. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here. It's all got to even out in the wash. He's mixing up some pitch usage, but I just feel like Jesus, 30+% all swing and strike like combo is gonna get back to probably a 1 in 4 K rate. Also has a 14% walk rate to righty so far. I feel like that's gonna come back down too. So looking for positive regression for Bibby sooner than later. So let's be conservative here, but I'm gonna give him a 22% K rate, even though I think he's a 1 in 4 K rate guy. Just hasn't realized it. And Sagano, like we said, some of these soft tossers from overseas They're not really meant to miss bats, and that 92-mile-an-hour fastball and this 86 splitter supposed to do some soft contact, but right now it's got a negative run grade on every pitch but his cutter. So I'm not interested in pitch. So let's go Bybee with that. Give him a 8.5% walk rate. Yahoo. If I'm gonna give him a 15 just because that's still like league low. And for walk rate, Bybee is probably gonna be somewhere around 17.5. Yeah, 15.5. Wow. There's not even enough juice for me to feel super confident there. I guess we're giving them both 15. We'll go 15 on Sagano, 15.5 on Bybee. We'll go from there. What up, Power? How to play catch up, no mustard. Mustard! He didn't miss much. I wasted God knows how long talking about Brian Wu just for him to not even be starting. I'm gonna record that, play that part tomorrow. That'll be a different matchup. All right, moving on to the Royals, who got swept out of the Bronx. That's right, didn't win a single game. I don't know why I emphasized that twice. I have no idea. Just reporting, man. Just reporting the facts. Now they go to Comerica, where they hope to get back right. Aaron Judge went crazy yesterday. And what I like, the pitching was like terrible either. It's just the offense just kind of sputtering for them. They get Michael Lorenzen on the bump against these Tigers. Michael Lorenzen got a little Trevor Williams feel to him in terms of comparing him to inning eaters that are righties that you don't play for a ton of strikeout stuff, but not shocked when they throw a quality start and 3 strikeouts or something like that, you know? And it is the Tigers and a pretty plus pitcher's park, so basically what I'm saying is the Tigers have a 4.4 run total. It's kind of crazy. And 3.8 on the Royals. So Lorenzen not getting any of the pitcher park bad team rub with that run total right now. But just 2 of the Tigers players, Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green, since the beginning of last year, have a plus WRC plus against righties. Now, I guess because of the run total, and I mean, I see wind blowing in sub 60s. It's not like I'm seeing something that would boost this. So, I'm gonna isolate numbers to this year and see where Detroit's at. Detroit is actually 9th in WRC plus this season against righties. Interesting. Detroit is 10th in WOBA. Detroit is 15th in ISO. 5th in strikeout rate. Just 9 homers. Do the Nats have 1 homer against righties? Is that right? Gotta be what, James Wood? Is that right? That's kind of crazy. Unless it's not. Run yesterday. Pretty crazy. That's actually kind of insane. So I guess basically what I'm doing here is kind of deciding, is Lorenzen at 8,100 on DraftKings worth a back pocket play in middle to back end of your MME lineups in a plus park plus matchup with 3 guys you want to worry about in terms of ISO. One of those guys is pretty short sampled. I want to say, yeah. Reese Olson inversely. Sub 10% swinging strike rate so far for him. Sub 20% K rate so far for him. An incredibly low barrel rate. Doesn't look like I would project for much offense in this game in general. I don't know that I could project the run total to drop, but I think I would. It looks like it's at an implied 8.5 right now. I can see it dropping to 8. But I guess it could also just be the Royals. I don't know. Royals starters very attackable. Weaker platoon is righties, but they are pretty lefty. Oh wait, 41 and a 58% ground ball rate to lefties for Trevor Williams. Their best hitters are lefty. Talking myself into Lorenzen here, like as the winning the advantage, but give him a projection. 19% on the K rate for Lorenzen. Let's go Olsen at. Give him 19% as well. I feel like you could give Olsen 20. We're splitting hairs, but the Royals just don't strike out, so it doesn't matter. We're not likely to play a lot of Olsen anyway, or any. I'll give him 11% walk rate, and then Lorenzen will give 11. Thank you. Come again. Olsen 16.5. Lorenzen. Is there something about Lorenzen I'm missing? Is a pitch count 85? It just feels like Lorenzen is pretty, I'm gonna say likely, but it's got probably a solid chance at a quality start. What up, Dave? Hope you've been all right. I mean, this is like a super wash here, but I actually think I'm a little bit intrigued with Lorenzen on DK. That's how we'll play that. Keep it moving. This is gonna be interesting game for real life. The Yankees are going to their spring training home facilities as the visitors after sweeping the Royals. Did I mention that? I don't know if I mentioned that. But they went on a diving catch by Cody Bellinger. Juan Soto could never. I died. Am I upset? No. Sorry. Will Warren throwing baseballs for the Yankees. That's not what you want. We saw Clark Schmidt yesterday. That was hopeful. Step in the right direction, hopefully, to get Marcus Stroman out of there. Tampa has been host to the Red Sox, and then all season long, we have seen this park play pretty offensively. So between the park boost and the fact that Will Warren is throwing baseballs for the Yankees, this could be a good spot for them. Right now they have a 4.7 run total. Yankees 4.5, coming in as road dogs. And that's because Taj Bradley is way better than Will Warren. Will Warren, a 11% barrel rate last year, 14% this season. He is getting some strikeouts. Good for him. A lot of called strikes to get him ahead in count. But man, oh man, he having troubles missing the barrel of the bat. So got to work on that. And the Rays have exploited that. And this park has been really good for that. And it's 80 plus degrees out there in Tampa in a lower than a minor league ballpark. It's basically a single A park. So Ray stack at the top here. Now we're gonna fire back with some Yankees, but we also really like Taj Bradley. So I guess it just comes out, how do we weigh this? Aaron Judge is $6,500. Wow. I think we go Yankees here over Bradley, but we're not gonna not. You're not gonna not get Randy Jackson's autograph, and you're not gonna not include Taj Bradley with what's on this slate. So far, 7 strikeouts in every game so far. Now, the matchups have been much less imposing. The Rockies at home, the Braves that strike out quite a bit, and then Texas, kind of middle of the pack for me in terms of here's some lineups. So that's why we're gonna put Bradley third. There's still reason to be encouraged about Taj Bradley, at least season long wise. And the main reason is every one of his pitches have a 25% or better whiff rate. That's kind of picking up where he was at last year. The expected slug on the fastball is pretty high. Expected WOBA is pretty high. That's his number one. Just his ability to rack up strikeouts. I mean, a 31% K rate on the season is nice. Again, positive strength of schedule. So we'll put him at third. But Rays and Yankees could be in a spot to have a little slugfest out there. And maybe this game total goes up as start hearing more about the humidity and the temperature in the park. What up, Dave? Took second in a tournament? Let's go. Dude, we got 2 second places so far tonight in chat. Judge is 0-3 versus Bradley. Dave, stop that. Dave, what chat room are you welcome to bring up BVP? Because it ain't this one. And I can't think of any other ones. But for real, BVP shouldn't be something that like you're looking at this early in your research process. But hey, you just took second in a tournament, so what the heck do I know, man? Maybe I should do a video series. Honestly, that might be kind of funny. Just on a big 15 game slate, just playing the best BVP spots and just seeing the results. Not that that would like prove anything, but it's just funny content, yeah. But just for the record, I don't even look at BVP. Very rarely matters, and it's pretty unquantifiable as far as the context. Sometimes you get guys that just own a pitcher, 5 or 6 dingers, 15, 20 at bats. You know, a lot of guys that are within the same division that could rack up those at bats a little bit more. I guess I would be more likely to listen to reasoning behind that, but you can't bring me a 3 at bat sample size for the best hitter on the planet. And I don't even mean that in any like, that's just not, he's the best hitter on the planet, dude. He is different. Batting 400, y'all. 400. He might get that triple crown. Yeah. Might get that MVP again. 3.6 run total for the Cardinals, 4.1 for the Mets. Griffin Canning taking on Andre the Giant Payante. 20% K rate for him. He has not been a K rate guy. He does have a 12% swing and strike rate this season. That doesn't seem to be something that we should expect to sustain, and it also has not really meant much for his overall K percentage. Heavy ground ball stuff here, so certainly suffocating offense. He also has a little bit of a walk problem, but might be able to erase some of that with the ability to induce the ground balls, maybe get those double plays. So far this season, a 2.16 home run per 9 to lefties. That is attached to a 43.5% hard contact rate, but a 309 xFIP. So Juan Soto, Jesse Winker, Brendan Nimmo, and Lindor. Guys that'll be bad and lefty that can maybe take advantage of that. But this feels like a pretty yucky game to get behind. And Payante is not somebody I want to play necessarily for DFS, but he's also just like, he's a stat killer. Yeah, he's like the heyday Martin Perez. He's just, you don't want to play him because he's not going to give you 6-7 strikeouts, but also probably going to put the ball on the ground and give up a ton of tournament winning upside. If they do get through to him, he does walk, bases loaded or something, and he folds, and then you get through the bullpen. Might be something to build a scenario for in your lineups. But pre-flop, not expect him to give up 3 or 4 bombs, you know. So how do we rank this out? Griffin Canning inversely, 20% K rate so far this season, up from 17 last season. The swing and strike rate pretty similar to last year. The barrel rate is pretty similar. That's not a great thing. The whip is elevated, expected ERA elevated. It's 2 just like unremarkable pitchers, and Griffin Canning might be the worst or the lesser of the 2. I don't want to say the worst, but Cardinals have just a 3.6 run total, huh? That about. Against lefties, Canning, a double-digit walk rate, much like Payante. This is a pretty low game total for 2 pitchers with walk problems, huh? 7 is basically a 7.5 run total. Man, dude, I would probably be curious with that, just based on having the walk race that we got. Might accidentally get a 3-run double or a 2-run single, you know what I mean? Both sides. And I don't think the Cardinals are like 3.6 run total bad. Who is Griffin Canning? Like, this is, we got another wrong starter situation because Griffin Canning? Hello? 4-1-2 Ernie's in Toronto Athletics. Old Toronto, they still had 3 walks, and look at this game log here. Feels like a little disrespect to the Cardinals and a little over respect to Griffin Canning. Tiny sample set. Now I'm just messing with you, Dave. Almost an 80% first pitch strike against Toronto with a 12.4% swing and strike rate. In Toronto is a hard team to get some strikeouts on. Got 6 of them in 4 innings. They also walked 3 and gave up 4 hits. So the fact that it only had 1 Ernie seems a little on the lucky side. Babbitt. I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning towards a little disrespect towards Cards here. I at least would be interested in their run total. We'll go Cardinals. Mets. Not enthralled by either pitcher, but could you vomit click them in this game, in this slate? Bradley's in a tough matchup. Like, there's not like a super strikeout pitcher in an elite, like, you know what I mean? Like, you might have to include these guys based off a checklist. Checklist would be low run totals, positive ground ball rates. Payante has a sub-4 expected ERA. And I'm like so much less inclined to get to Canning, and he's like minus 142. I'm gonna put a little Payante. don't want to play Griffin Canning, man. Is this me? Am I missing something? .211 average to lefty, 0 home run per 9. That's down, but that seems small sample luck. Yeah, pitching on it. There'll probably be a Fanduel night if you don't like pitching here. Clicking one pitcher is hard enough, man. Clicking two of them, GG's. 286 BABIP to lefty, so I mean that's not like incredibly lucky or unlucky. I don't know, man. I must be missing something on Griffin. Can't figure it out. One game left on the docket. Pause for the cause. Remind you guys, might hang out with us throughout the week in the premium side. We got the Discord running. We also got the spreadsheet at your fingertips. Make your decisions, your props, prop picks, your home run picks, your DFS lineups. We are hours out. Most of these lineups will change. Some of these pitchers might change. Some of the weather might change. But throughout the day, you'll get a more up-to-date lineup, and also the run totals change, and that, of course, will change the projections, whatnot. So, try to stay up to date, or if you don't have the time to dedicate to listen to me yap, get a subscription at MLBgrind.com. And also, this helps support everything we're doing here. We are not monetized here on this YouTube channel. So even if you're like, yeah, I already have a sub somewhere else, I already have an optimizer, a sim, but I do appreciate you being my company as I research. A lot of people do research the games the same time as me. Having a sub is a good way to kind of show a little love for that, yeah? Paris on the 7th spot, Joe Dell. Freaking Angels, man. This is a safe space. You're telling me in the year of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ 2025, you're telling me Patrick Corbin is throwing baseballs against Michael Nelson, against Jorge Soler? When I say I was on full tilt in the first 2 innings when Trout and Soler had struck out, Trout struck out looking, froze him. I was like, come on, bro. What? I just felt a lot of emotions, not gonna lie. But can't Kumar Rocker get the day late stack, the stacktivate? The Angels have a 4.5 run total. The Rangers of 5.3. Dak Kachenowicz taking on Rocker, and a lot of red. More vomit clicks when it comes to pitching. And we're instantly interested in the offense. We put Corey Seager as the cover boy of this YouTube video, the thumbnail, because my, oh my. 3.24 home run per night so far for Jack against lefties. Extremely high fly ball, extremely high hard contact rate, almost a 10% barrel rate. Corey Seager, 253 ISO since the beginning of last year against righties, 158 WRC plus. This is a spot for him to let one fly. Out there in Globe Life, it is likely to be between 85, 90 degrees, something like that. So we saw them close the roof last night for the Patrick Corbin start, but we saw them open it the night before. So it's not impossible here in the early months for them to open it up. So I do encourage you guys to kind of keep up to date with that. There is a Twitter account called GLF Roof, Globe Life Roof. It's like this. That's been my kind of resource here. And they actually track the win-loss record. They are 1-0 with the roof open, 7-1 with the roof closed. We'll see if they open up the roof tomorrow. And if they do, with these two pitchers on the bump, we should get a lot of offense, and this is already a high run total. So if it does open, I'm going to boost the weather grade probably to a 1.5, and we'll just kind of call it from there. But pre-flop, I don't really need to spend too much time. Let's see, roof status, Twitter, put that here. Saying that, yeah, both offenses are in play here. And I really don't want to get to either pitcher. We didn't really fill out these pitcher projections here, so let me go ahead and get this zeroed out. And if you guys that are watching live have some questions, comments, concerns, you can wrap up with once we do get to the end. I'll be glad to go check it out. So for Will Warren, I'm gonna give him a 26% K rate. Taj Bradley, I'm gonna give him a 29. Is that fair? I think that's fair. Will Warren's walk rate, a lot to lefties. Give him a 10%. Taj Bradley, give him a 0.5. Ayante, K rate, let's give him a 19.5. Canning, let's give him a 20. Walk rates here are going to be 10 and 12. 12, and then Dak and Kumar. Sounds like a good pop show. Old white guy and a Indian dude. Give him a, gotta go with 13% K rate. That's as high as we can give him, yeah. The walk rate we'll go 9 for him, and then Rocker we'll give him I'm gonna give him an 18%, 18.5. But clearly he's been all over the place, and that's what we expect from him. And then for walk rate, I'm gonna give him a 9 as well. Let's go throw some outs on it. Probably gonna be a bunch of 15s here, yeah. 15 for Warren, Bradley, 8.5. Dante, 8.5, 15.5. I'm not giving anybody on this entire day quality start point. Yikes. Main pitcher projections. Take him out. Take him out. E-Rod. Yeah, this is a day for the bats pre-flop, but I feel like we said this about today early. And then we get Patrick Corbin doing what he did. And we actually had on the early slate, we did have for a minute Brian Wu, and then that was taken from us. Then we also lost for this slate the Sanchez and Jordan. I swear if Hicks goes off today, I'm just whatever, dude. You know, I'll be happy for him. All right, that gives us Bradley Lorenzen ending. IB Rocker. Oh my God. This might be the worst pitching slate of all time. It's looking rough. We'll do the main slate stack rating. Oh man. Might just be betting PrizePicks fantasy points here, dude. This is rough. And we'll go with that. Yankees, Rangers, Tampa, Angels, Baltimore. Like, there are so many 5 and aboves. Kind of crazy. We'll go bomb detector. It's Corey Seager since he's the cover boy. We need one. Corey. Roll F Seager. Seager's at a 384. It's actually not that crazy, but take it. Judgy's at the tippy top, 4.5. That's crazy. Ellie De La Cruz, Cali. I mean, these are monstrous numbers for this model with this much sample size, to be honest. Friedel, Jamer Candelario, Schwarber, Aranda. Ben Rice back. He had the day off yesterday. You guys have seen his Savant page. Wow. All right. That is our slate. We'll sort this out. If you guys are subbed at MLB Grind, like the projections. Will be the early projections. Of course, we'll sweep them when lineups get confirmed and stuff like that. But basically, 2 slates tomorrow. If you wanted to take a day off, this might be the day to do it, or just play light. Historically, I do way better when I love pitching. I do not love pitching today. So yeah, for me, feeling like this would be the PrizePicks day for me, where I just go take like hitter fantasy points, you know. All right, I believe we have all the tabs we need to be ready for subscribers, and you could chat. Get out of here. I guess that's it. If you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up on your way out. I will be back tomorrow night to break down Friday's like always a 15 game slate, or 15 games on the day, so we'll be back to look at that. It actually looks like a lot of games end at a decent time tonight, but I don't know how early I can stream because I never really know when all the next day data is available, or I'll get Brian wooed again. All right, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed. I love you guys. Tell somebody else out there you love them. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.